For decades, the Eagles were more than just a band, they were a musical force that shaped generations. But behind the soaring harmonies and chart-topping hits, tension brewed. Now, at 77, Joe Walsh, guitar legend and beloved wildcard of the group, is finally breaking his silence about the man who was always at the center of it all, Don Henley. Fans have speculated for years. Were they close? Was there bitterness? Or was it just rock and roll ego? After all, the Eagles weren't known for being drama-free. With so many strong personalities, Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Joe Walsh, and others, it was only a matter of time before the cracks showed. Joe Walsh joined the Eagles in 1975, just in time for the Hotel California era. His blistering guitar solos helped elevate the band to new heights. But Joe wasn't just a musician, he was a character. He brought chaos, humor, and a rock and roll edge. Meanwhile, Don Henley was known as the perfectionist. Quiet, intense, and deeply focused. Don was the band's heartbeat and sometimes its strict taskmaster. For years, rumors circulated that Henley and Walsh didn't see eye to eye. Stories emerged of studio clashes, icy silences, and backstage tension. Some fans even believed the two barely tolerated each other. But now, with time and reflection, Joe Walsh is setting the record straight. What he's saying might just surprise you. In a recent interview, Walsh opened up in a way he rarely has. Don's complicated, he admitted. He's got this drive, this sense of responsibility to the music. I didn't always get it when we were younger. I thought he was too serious, too controlling. But looking back, I respect the hell out of him for it. Walsh went on to explain that while their personalities often clashed, their differences were part of what made the Eagles so great. We were like fire and ice. I'd walk into the studio barefoot with a joke, and Don would be there with a notebook and a schedule. But that mix, that tension, that's where the magic happened. He even got candid about how, at times, his own behavior created rifts. I was wild, Walsh confessed. Too wild. And Don didn't have time for that. But you know what? He never gave up on me. He never threw me out or turned his back. And I'll always be grateful for that. But perhaps the most touching part of Walsh's confession came when he talked about aging, legacy, and forgiveness. We've lost people, Glenn's gone. And when that happens, you stop caring about the small stuff. Me and Don, we've made peace. We talk, we laugh. There's love there. In a world where band breakups and feuds often define legacies, Walsh's words offer something rare: closure, understanding, and even affection. I used to think Don was the enemy of fun, he chuckled. Now I think he was just trying to keep the ship afloat while the rest of us were partying below deck. And it seems Don Henley feels the same. He recently praised Walsh in an interview, calling him one of the most soulful guitar players alive, and a brother for life. So, was there tension? Absolutely. Was there conflict? No doubt. But behind all of that was a bond forged through music, miles, and memories. And now, as Joe Walsh reflects at 77, he's not holding on to grudges, he's holding on to gratitude. In the end, maybe that's the real legacy of the Eagles. Not just the hits, not just the tours, but the complicated, messy, beautiful relationships that powered one of the greatest bands in rock history. And thanks to Joe Walsh's honesty, fans can finally understand the truth. He and Don Henley were never enemies. They were brothers, flawed, fiery, and forever linked by the music that changed the world.